Hi, everybody, and welcome to this incredible interview with the World Health Summit. My name is Lisa Blaisdell, and I am so excited to have Dr. Ritamarie Loscalzo, who is in Austin, Texas, to talk with us today. I'm very excited to talk to you. Dr. Loscalzo is the founder of the Institute of Nutritional Endocrinology. She is a doctor of chiropractic. She is a certified nutritionist. She's a best-selling author, an internationally recognized speaker, and an expert on women's health issues and an authority. So as a woman who's 50 and as someone who works with a lot of women that are also in this age range, Dr. Loscalzo, I am super excited to talk to you and just learn more about how you help these women. So thank you for being with me. And I always love to ask people at the beginning, what led you to this calling of deep service to others?
It's a great question, and I love answering it, and thank you for giving me that opportunity. It all happened when I was in my 20s, and my health was falling apart. And I always tell people when I was in my 20s and I was lucky enough to have my health falling apart, because it inspired me to do something rather than wait, as a lot of women do, till the 40s, 50s, 60s, after many more years of not really being able to take care of their bodies properly. So I started to not be well. I was very intolerant of not being well. Had to live on caffeine and sugar to keep me going throughout the day. Mm-hmm. And I started to have really bad headaches and sinus problems and brain fog. Before that was a commonly used term.
Yes.
I said, I don't know what this is. I feel like my head's in a fog. And then, what really got me was doubling over stomach pain. And doctors were like, here's some steroids, here's some antihistamines, here's some Valium for your headaches, here's some ulcer medication, and just keep drinking caffeine because it's keeping you awake. That was basically the answers I got, and that wasn't good enough for me. So when I was told I didn't have an ulcer after they did all these scopings and things like that, but I said, well, what's wrong and what do I do? When they said to me, oh, well, we don't know, and just keep taking the ulcer medication. Just a little voice in my head said, huh? Like, that doesn't even make sense. I'm 25 years old. What is it going to be like when I'm 50, right? Am I going to be completely falling apart in a wheelchair on dialysis? Who knows, right? So I asked the question, I said, could it be my diet? And of course, back in, 1983 or something, a long, long time ago, they said, no, diet doesn't have anything.
Of course not. Nothing to do with it. Of course
not.
Eat whatever you want.
And I said, well, I can understand it for all the other problems, but my stomach, like, the food has to go through there. There must be a connection. So I started doing research, and the only ways that you can do research back in the 80s, which was the library. There was no Google, and there were no sites like this to educate people about what they could do to take charge of their own health. So I started researching like crazy, and long story short, experimented. It took me probably 2 to 3 years before I could really get my health back. But I found what worked, and then I said, well, I need to get out of this computer field and go into the health field because it shouldn't have to be this hard.
Yeah.
So I left my job in computers and I went back to school, and I just kept learning and getting degrees and learning and getting out in the world and starting to help people, and very passionate about it.
Wow, that's awesome. Good for you. I mean, it's just, I hear these stories over and over and over again. And I'm so proud of people, especially back then when it wasn't easy to sit with a computer on your lap in the comfort of your own home. You actually had to get out and go somewhere to learn, to become empowered so that you could take control of your own health. Because, even today, there are so many doctors telling women and families that they don't have answers, that there's no, take this drug or whatever and good luck.
Right.
And it's really, it's unbelievable. So tell me a little bit about your specific area of expertise, especially around endocrinology, which is such a big area of women's health, and, really how you help these women and kind of what your focus is.
Yeah. So endocrinology kind of gets lumped into the same specialty categories like gastroenterology or neurology or urology. But endocrinology is much broader. There's no set place where the endocrine system lives in your body. In fact, the endocrine system lives throughout the body. And I believe that the endocrine system is the master controller. It controls everything, right? It controls your metabolic rate. It controls your appetite. It controls your mood. It controls your sex hormones. It controls your reproductive drives. It controls your immune system, your blood sugar, and on, your cardiovascular, your kidneys. There are hormones. Hormones is the study of endocrinology is hormones. Hormones are signals, and there are hormones throughout the body. They're produced by a remote site to control the actions at a distal site. So these little messengers, chemical messengers called hormones, float through the bloodstream from a producer, a gland, if you will, that then goes around. But the target can be anywhere, right? So the target for maybe estrogen is a little more limited than the target for thyroid or insulin, which are hormones. And most people misinterpret or misunderstand what the endocrine system is or what hormones are. When you say hormones to someone, they right away go to the bedroom, right? It's sex or baby, that's what they think of, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. But there are the more what I call day-to-day, everyday hormones that control our everyday function. Thyroid controls metabolic function. Insulin and glucagon control blood sugar balance. There's about 26 that I know of, maybe more, that control digestive function. Every part of your digestive tract is controlled by hormones that get produced inside the tract, but then circulate through the bloodstream to get signals to other parts of the digestive tract. The immune system is controlled by everything. Has a hormonal, even kidney, the blood pressure, how much water fluid is retained by the kidneys is controlled by hormones, right? Oxytocin, the love mating hormone, but really controls, milk letdown in infants and bonding reactions. So everything's controlled by hormones. So when I say I work with nutritional endocrinology, I'm really working with the entire system. And I help practitioners to understand the connection and why it's so important that there's so many things in common with these hormones, right? They all have receptors on the cells, hormone receptors. And hormone receptors are there to catch the hormone and say, oh, you want me to increase the oxygen consumption of these cells? Great, I'll do that. Oh, you want me to, let the glucose in? Oh, great, I'll do that. So they take the message. The unfortunate thing is they're delicate. They're on the cell membrane and they get damaged. And one of the biggest problems I see that's so overlooked in our society, in our medical system, is the issue of hormone resistance, right? So we talk about it with commonly insulin resistance, right? It's like, oh, it's a precursor to diabetes. Well, it's more than that, but we can go into that another time. But there's other hormone resistances, thyroid hormone resistance, and too much stress and too much production of the adrenal hormone cortisol will just kind of dampen the ability of those thyroid hormones to take the message, right? And a lot of things are like that. There's specific nutrient imbalances, inflammation, excesses of other hormones that all impact the receptors for the other hormones.
Wow.
And it makes a huge difference. And what I like to do is work with people to help them to identify these imbalances and restore function by basically restoring the habits, the diet habits that they need to be doing on a regular basis to keep the system healthy.
So what's the approach that you will usually take with people? Do you go after their diets first? Is that kind of your first line of offense?
Diet and lifestyle. So stress is one of my first things to go after, because if you can't get the stress under control and teach people ways to manage that and get their nervous systems out of that fight, flight, what's called the sympathetic nervous system dominance, and into that, rest, repose, reproduce, digest nervous system, which is parasympathetic. If we can't get them to move there, even with a good diet, it's hard to get results. So it's balance. So I love to look and see where the imbalances lie. And I teach people a matter of, like, there's 7 pillars that I work on. Maybe there's 8, maybe there's 10, maybe there's, you can lump them into 3, but the way I talk about it, it's 7 pillars. And
Wow.
I call them the body freedom pillars, the body freedom foundations, because when those are in balance, you get freedom from your body. You get to do whatever you want to do, because you don't have to say, no, I can't go hiking. I'm tired. No, I can't, have sex. I don't have any sex drive, and, the mechanisms are turned off. I can't, whatever, because the body isn't functioning. So I call them the body freedom foundations. And when we can get those body freedom foundations under control and in balance, then everything else starts to restore. So not to say that I don't work with people on testing their thyroid and testing their adrenals and testing their sex hormones, looking for the subtle imbalances. But if we try to correct those first, before we set a good foundation, it's like building a house on quicksand.
Yes.
Yeah.
And do you find that if you can get these 7 pillars under control, and they start to modify their lifestyle, they start to really manage things better, that even just that alone can make profound differences and improvements.
Profound, right? Profound.
Without even changing their diets yet.
Well, the diet is one of them.
It is one of them. Okay.
The diet is one of the foundations.
Okay, good.
Right?
Okay.
So those foundations are, and I'll spell them out in the way that they spell the freedom word. Fun. I bet you that one caught you off guard. But most people are not having fun in their life. They look at everything as a drudgery. So I introduce 5 minutes of fun every day.
Yeah.
Rest and relaxation, getting plenty of sleep, super important. And most people the average American is sleeping 6 hours or less a night. Right? Shift workers, it's even worse, right?
Yeah.
Moms of new babies, right? All kinds of situations. Older folks tend to have difficulties and so there's so many reasons for that. Exercise, movement of some sort, whether it be going to the gym or just walking up and down your stairs, vacuuming the rug, dancing to your favorite music, but keeping the body moving, right? Environment, the clean environment, right? We're so inundated by pollutants in the environment, by the stuff in the food, the GMOs and the pesticides and so much stuff. People are spraying air fresheners to make their spray, and they don't even know what's in those things and how they're endocrine disruptors. So we clean up the environment. And then we work at the diet, right? So the diet's super, super important. A lot of times that when I see people, they've already made some of the token diet changes, and we need to really refine it and get the right diet for them. There's so many diet plans out there, and the internet has made it so accessible for people to learn. What I find is that they're all confused. Should I do a low histamine diet? What about that? If I eat more greens, I'm going to have more oxalates. And I heard about the paleo diet and the keto diet and the low lectin diet. And they're all like, what do I eat? And I said, well, calm down and let's handle stress. Right?
Because that alone can be stressful, trying to make changes to the diet and know the right approach and what should they do. That's stressful.
Absolutely. And then we look at Outlook, and not in this order. I just put them in this order so they spelled the word properly. I usually start with the stress, which is the last one. So Outlook, what's your outlook? What are you looking forward to? Right? What's your attitude about this? I've seen people who have the beautiful diet, but they're just angry about it. Why do I have to eat this way? And my friends don't have to eat this way. And the diet's not going to do them the good it can. Then I have other people I've seen who will caress their green juice as they drink it and thank it, even though it doesn't taste good to them. Maybe it does, but to caress it and thank it for nourishing and healing. And of course, mindfulness, like having a mindfulness practice, whether that be meditation, yoga, heart math. There's a number of them. I like the ones that I teach, the ones that you can do in short increments throughout the day, because I've always had a hard time with meditating. I've been meditating now nonstop for over a year. For years I tried. I finally found a device called the Muse that helps me do it. But much more than 20 minutes, even 20 minutes is pushing it, right? So it's 5, 10. And then throughout the day, I take those 30-second to a minute breaks. To just get back into that parasympathetic mode, right? So all of those are the foundations of hormone balance. Then you can start looking at them. And I look at them in a particular order. I'll start with digestion and blood sugar balance. Those two they go hand in hand. And if you don't get those balanced, no matter how much thyroid hormone you take, no matter how many special herbs and dong quai and whatever else you take for your female hormones, it's not going to work if your digestion and your blood sugar are not working properly. So I work on those, and then we go up the pyramid. Okay. And most of the time when you fix the things below,
yes,
you sometimes don't even have to address it. I've had people come in and address the foundations and the blood sugar, and have completely go off of thyroid medication after 50 years and reverse their Hashimoto's because they were vigilant about the other pieces.
Wow, that's amazing. That is amazing. So when you work with people on their diets, I mean, we just covered that there's no one size fits all. Do you, obviously, whole foods, no processed food. Do you have any other particular modalities or methodologies that you incorporate, especially for the women that are, maybe struggling with some of the thyroid issues or some of the common things that you see?
I usually start them with a whole foods, plant strong diet. Yeah. Most people don't eat enough green leafy vegetables and non-starchy vegetables. Their idea of vegetables is French fries with ketchup. 2 vegetables covered in one. Like, no vegetables, 0. So a high vegetable diet, whole foods, high in vegetables. And then we see now for some people where their gut's a mess from years of irritable bowel or inflammatory bowel disease, we have to go with steamed vegetables versus salads and raw vegetables because their gut is too. So we really evaluate that. But I start them with that basics, and then we have them check. How do you feel? I would say majority of them feel better right away just from that. Some of them go, oh, now I have stomach pain. Okay, let's shift things around a bit.
Right. So can you give me an example of how you worked with a particular person? Maybe I know you've worked with thousands of people, but is there any particular case study or success story that you can share with us to help people give that hope and that encouragement?
Sure. I'll tell you about one lady. I talk about her a lot, but she's like such a profound case. And she didn't even work with me one-on-one. She worked with me in a program I have, and it's a blood sugar balancing program. And she came to the program because she was very overweight. She just had 2 hip surgeries and a knee surgery, and she was 110 pounds overweight. And she went to her doctor for her checkup or whatever, and they said, oh, you're pre-diabetic. She goes, what? Oh, well, yeah, your blood sugar's around 118, 119. We, diagnosed diabetes in 120. And so what I think you should do is come back in 6 months and let's check you out. She goes, okay, so what do I do in the meantime? He said, well, you could lose weight or something, but he didn't give her anything. He just said, come back in 6 months. If your sugar's higher, we'll put you on medication then. And she was thinking about the uncle that died of, diabetes, and the mom and all his family members. And she said, no, I'm not going to sit around and wait to become diabetic. It doesn't make sense. So she started Googling, and she found my program, and she joined up, and she just started to follow. And what she says to this day, she still comes back and comes in when we do new groups in the program and talks to them because her story is so inspiring. She said, you just have to trust your body, and you just have to trust that you're getting good advice and follow it, right? Follow it. If it doesn't make sense or you don't feel good, ask questions, but follow, just trust. Because people will say, well, what do I do for this? And what do I do for that? But we don't have a this for that approach. We have an approach to balance. So she followed this program. She followed it. And by 4 months later, she'd lost like 55 pounds or 75 pounds, some large amount of weight. She was back to a doctor, and this woman had been in the military. Her father had been in the military. She moved a lot as an adult as well. So she'd been to many, many doctors, and she had been diagnosed with Hashimoto's about 10 years before. She'd been diagnosed as hypothyroid when she was like 14. So she'd been on thyroid medication for 50 years. Wow. So she goes back into this doctor who had never seen her before and just had her charts, who said, you don't look like the same person I'm seeing in this chart. What happened? She tells her. She says, well, let's try this. Go off all your medication for a month. Come back. We'll do a full battery of tests, and we'll see what you need. She goes back in a month. Nothing. There's nothing wrong. She had been on cortisone because her adrenals were failing. She had a pituitary problem. She had the thyroid problem, blood pressure, on and on. No medication.
Wow.
And this was 6 years ago. She's 71 now. She's lost 110 pounds.
Oh my gosh. That's
and
amazing.
Reversed her Hashimoto's. And it's just like bouncing around, right? Helping her
That
husband
is
start
awesome.
businesses. So it's just very inspiring that,
And she did that when she was older.
Yeah,
So
she was 65 when she started.
So it's never too late.
Never too late. Never too late.
I love that. And just, I love what you said too about just trust and follow the program.
Yeah, and don't do crazy things. If somebody, some crazy maniac, person out there says, do this and eat fire extinguisher.
Right. But that's why they seek out people like you, practitioners like you, that know what they're doing. You have programs that they can plug into.
Exactly. We've had thousands of people, like you said, go through them and trust it, because so many people get in, they'll join the program and they say, I just tested in this and this and this. What should I do? I'm like, you're only 3 days into the program. Follow the program. Have you done this yet? No. Have you done this yet? No. I'm not going to give you anything new to do.
Right.
Start with the basics. When you start with the basics and something happens that's not quite in alignment, then we'll look at what do we do.
Right.
But just follow. You're in the right place. Know that those results are telling you you're in the right place.
Oh, I love it. That is so great. So tell me a little bit about your program and how people can align with you and learn from you and work with you.
Yeah, so we have a number of programs. Our signature program is our blood sugar balancing program, and we call it the Sweet Spot Solution. And the Sweet Spot Solution it's a group coaching program. We have the ability to hire a coach who's somebody I trained if you want one-on-one. Some people are like busy executives or whatever, and they just want more of the one-on-one. But we've had, thousands of people go through the program as is, right? And group-wise, they get group coaching calls with me. They get a Facebook group where we're constantly interacting. I have at least 3 or 4 coaches on there every day, checking in with them, and I get in there too. And we support them. We give them recipes. We give them menu plans. We give them step by step. We teach them how to measure their own blood glucose so that they catch it before it becomes diabetes.
Oh, that's great.
And we teach them that diabetes and insulin resistance don't start when you get diagnosed. They've started decades before. So we teach them how to, what are the tip of the iceberg symptoms that you're having now that are foreboding of something down the road if you don't change something now. Right. And so those are fatigue and brain fog and a lot of the stuff I was experiencing when I'm in my 20s. And that's what a lot of people are experiencing. So that's one. And we have a digestive management program and an adrenal support program. So we just take people through, but we start with the foundations. And a lot of people don't need to go to the more advanced programs because they solve it by solving the core issue.
Right.
Yeah.
Just the foundation works.
The foundation works.
Ugh, that's great. I love that you do it in a group setting because I think so many people find, what's the word I'm looking for? That support, that camaraderie.
Yeah.
Just something about being in a program with other people. I'm sure they all connect to each other. They learn from each other.
They do constantly. I see it every day. I see the interactions between them, the support. You think like they're best friends now. After just 3 weeks, we just started a new group 3 weeks ago. And you think they're like best friends because they're all like, oh, you can do this. Oh, when I did this. And they're just constantly. It's much more effective than just working with a practitioner who you talk to once a week.
Right. No, I love that. That's great. That is great. So how can people find you, Dr. Loscalzo? They can go to your website.
Yep, my website is drritamarie.com.
Okay.
And it's an old website. I need to get it redone, but you can find a lot of stuff there. We have a number of free gifts that we give away, so there's a lot of ways to get it that way.
Okay, great. Well, it's okay. Your website isn't current. That means you're busy helping people.
That's right. People keep saying, oh, I can't start my health coaching business because my website isn't ready. I'm like, honey, I've been doing this for 8 years online and my website hasn't been ready from the day one, but my materials are ready. And I send people to places where they can learn more, get some free recipes or get some free guidelines. And then if they want to go further with me, they can.
And so you also help practitioners. You train practitioners.
I do. The Institute of Nutritional Endocrinology was founded in order to help other practitioners because I'm I'm really passionate about changing our system. I think the system's broken.
Yeah.
And it's not really healthcare. We call it that, but it's not. It's really
Sick care.
disease management,
Yeah.
right? Sick care, right? You're sick, you go, but they don't know how to keep you well or prevent you from getting sick.
Yeah.
So I train practitioners, doctors, nurses, acupuncturists. We have physical therapists, we have physician's assistants, optometrists, we have pharmacists, we have a whole lot of different variety, health coaches, nutritionists, and they all come together with the idea of really getting that deep dive into the nutritional endocrinology, being able to use functional lab work and run tests to figure out what's going on when, sometimes there's other things going on and you do the foundations, or the people aren't willing to do certain things unless you prove it to them.
Right.
By showing them something's wrong on the lab, right? And so I train the practitioners how to do all that.
And are you finding that the practitioners are taking more of a proactive approach in this arena? Are they, wanting to be more forward thinking in their approach to working with their patients? And
the ones that come to me are, for sure. There's still a lot of them out there, the masses out there that aren't. And I'm just working on getting speaking engagements at various events and trying to just get in and get them to see. And a paradigm shift is what we really need.
Yes, it is.
That's my goal. But once they're in the program, they're just loving on it.
They love it. Oh, gosh. Dr. Ritamarie, I am so happy that I got to talk to you today. Thank you so much. I want to honor your time, but you are doing incredible work. I just love what you're up to. I will make sure that everyone knows how to find you. And thank you so much for being a part of the World Health Summit. You're really going to add so much value to this whole program. And I'm just really thrilled that you're out there helping people.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh, have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.